Hey, Philosophy of Alcohol folks, how are you? Happy Thursday when you are watching this. Sorry we are not meeting in the classroom. I am saddened by that. I like meeting with you all, and I like having our philosophical discussions about alcohol. So I hope that you are well, and I hope that wherever you are watching this video, you're able to kind of rest a little easier, and it was nice not having to trudge across campus to class. So I wanted to continue, and you can see the videos below here. One, to kind of like get into the particularities about maybe various old-fashioned recipes, and then secondly, and I want to make sure I get this right, I copied in a little video about vodka, which again we've talked about in kind of passing, but I think it's really interesting to consider the nature of and how it might be the case, right? The vodka is unique in this list of spirits as it relates to you pay more to taste less, right? Where it seems like with other spirits, you pay more to taste more. So that video that's linked called Fancy Vodka, it has a little article, but there's a video embedded in the link. So it should all work pretty easily. So hopefully you're able to access that. But I wanted to return to something that we were talking about at the very end of class on yesterday. I'm recording this on Wednesday for you all on Thursday. And I actually want to go to handling the hard stuff. And I want to go to page 42. That's my chair, by the way. I want to go to page 42 for an article that's called What's So Spirited? Okay? And we started kind of trying to make a connection between spirit and alcohol. And upon further review after class on Tuesday, there is some evidence that the word alcohol derives from, and I can't pronounce this, but a Arabic word for spirit. So there's actually like etymological connection for alcohol being synonymous with spirit. So I think that there's something interesting to kind of connect the fact that like spirit is this inanimate, or it's not the inanimate, it's this immaterial aspect of our identities, right? But perhaps when we consume hard alcohol, it might, right, make us more animated by something that we're ingesting. Like our spirit might become more emboldened, for better or worse, by what it is we consume, okay? So on page 42, there's this article called What's So Spirited? And again, it starts out kind of with these big philosophical questions as it relates to spirits. Okay? One of the most puzzling topics of our metaphysical study and the discussion of spirits. In a purely metaphysical sense, do we have a spirit that exceeds our physical body? If so, where is it located? How do we access it, have connection with it? Is it even possible to engage with it in the first place? Moreover, if we are convinced that we have a spirit, does it follow that others have spirits? If so, can our individual spirits all engage collectively together? And what about non-human animals? Do they have spirits as well? As these questions and many others indicate, this topic has no shortage of depth that leads to possible, if not certain, confusion. Okay? The aim here is not to dive too deeply into the confusing waters of the timeless metaphysical discussion, but rather to offer an offshoot of this conversation on the discussion of spirit to the discussion of spirits we ingest, that of alcohol. Okay? So where did this name come from and how might we think of it? Spirit is defined, right, as the animating or vital principle in humans and animals, okay, to infuse life, energy, and vigor into a person, okay, or their attributes. Notice for a minute some key phrases in both of these definitions, which gives life to the body, to animate, encourage, and embolden. Okay? It could be argued, It could be argued that after a gin and tonic or two, one might feel more alive, more animated, more encouraged to behave in ways one otherwise wouldn't have, and perhaps be more emboldened than one was prior to the 2 gin and tonics. It could be argued that through the consumption of alcohol, one exhibits a more spirited existence, meaning that through the physical, one gets closer to the metaphysical, right? And that's like some heavy language for sure, but there might be something there, right? That through ingesting, let's say, gin and tonics, right, which is physical, it's liquid, right? So, I mean, it's still It has physical matter in the world. Excuse me. Okay? But maybe does that make one's spirit, part of their identity, if spirits exist, more exhibiting out in the world? Okay? And then this article continues by kind of connecting the notion of spirit with the process of distillation, which we talked about on Tuesday, right? Where if distillation is this process of making something more pure, especially making a fermenting liquid more pure through the process of distillation, then there's got to be a connection, or there maybe is a connection here, between kind of what results being closer to kind of, again, this pure spirit almost. Okay? All right. Distillation is the process by which a fermented liquid is heated so that it evaporates, becomes immaterial, and then is cooled to reliquefy to become material again. The remaining liquid is a pure extract of the initial fermenting liquid prior to the distillation process. Many of the compounds that are in the fermenting liquid evaporate or burn off, and the resulting liquid after it is turned from vapor back into a liquid is the alcohol that many of us know and drink. The liquid that results as a process of the fermentation in the distillation is a more clean, pure, and without the admixture of all that was in it during the fermentation process. Okay? Through this, we can see and ask meaningful questions about the essential nature of these types of alcohol. Like, could it be said that through the distillation process, there's an essentialism that occurs, right? And you can think about this in terms of, let's say, potato vodka. Okay, so you've got potatoes, they are fermenting, right? And they've got the skins, they've got the, maybe it looks like mashed potatoes and a bunch of water. Like, I've never actually seen potatoes ferment, but I'm just imagining here. But you can see these potatoes, right? With the skins, it's mushy, it's gross, yada, 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 it's fermenting. And then sure, it gets filtered, but there's still got to be some residue that's left. And so, right, we ask this question, well, what about, and how about, maybe, right? When the process of distillation starts to occur, all of that, for lack of a better term, gunk, right, is burned off, okay? Or it evaporates, okay? And when it recoalesces, when it recondenses, none of that gunk is there, okay? And so this idea that when we drink potato vodka distilled from potatoes, right? Clearly there's no skins. Clearly there's no mush, right? Clearly it is a pure extract of what it was when it started. Moreover, it is more essential, arguably, because it is more pure. Okay? So with this, we can clearly see and ask meaningful philosophical questions about the essential nature of these types of alcohol. Additionally, we could potentially start to build a framework with which to connect distilled types of alcohol distilled types of alcohol to why they are labeled as spirits. Through the distillation process, the final product is spirit, right? Materialized. Meaning, this idea that, like, what results in the potato vodka process is the ultimate essence, the spirit of all the potatoes that went into that fermentation process. But it's rematerialized now in the form of vodka. Okay? So that's this idea of kind of thinking about something becoming material, immaterial, material again, but in different form. Okay? And I think there is something very rich there. I think there's something very rich about the nature of and with kind of the metaphysical aspects of distillation, extraction, essentialism, etc. Okay? Secondly, and here's at the bottom of 43, what makes these spirits hard? Right? Because we hear about this all the time, like hard alcohol, right? Like, where does that term come from? And the history on that's a bit murky. It's not necessarily all too clear, but there is something that I think is kind of intuitively interesting here. Okay? We often hear of certain spirits, vodka, gin, tequila, rum, whiskey, brandy, pisco, cachaça, ouzo, etc., referred to as hard. Why is that? Moreover, to think about this differently, is there a relationship here to their distant cousins, soft drinks? Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew, right? The most obvious answer rests with alcohol being present in the harder drinks, clearly. But the origin of such classification has roots in the Middle Ages where it was hard, like genuinely difficult, sometimes to drink hard alcohol. That was redundant. To drink alcohol. And it was hard because, right, it would be astringent, it would be bitter, it might burn, right? Like it would be hard. I'm putting here like as it relates to like swallowing hard alcohol, swallowing something that's difficult to swallow, it would be hard, right? Often the astringency, sourness, and bitterness were such strong characteristics of the various alcohols that they were quite unpleasant to drinks. The after effects were pleasant, but the consumption wasn't necessarily all too pleasant as we imagine today. And then the last two paragraphs here. Okay? Furthermore, why should it be hard to drink something that is supposedly spirit materialized? Going back to kind of that outlook a moment ago. Arguably, it has become easier and safer to consume alcohol due to advancements in the distillation process and technology as techniques improve. Because of this, it could be argued that one of the aim of the distillation process is making alcohol less hard. That the closer the distillation gets to purified extract of that alcohol, the easier it will be to drink. Stated differently, the closer the alcohol is to being a true spirit materialized, the more easily it can be consumed. Okay? And so unpacking this here, right? And we think about kind of what we know maybe from, old methods of distillation to methods of distillation in 2022. And again, I know that many of us don't actually know, and I certainly am still kind of a novice when it comes to understanding the process. But I think there could be, again, some interesting ways of thinking about the nature of, like, as distillation improves, are we getting closer to a more pure and, like, essential aspect, essential attribute of whatever it is that's being distilled? So again, potatoes and vodka, or barley and wheat and grain and rye with whiskey, right? And so I think that there's, again, these kind of really interesting questions that we can ask about the process of distillation leading to pure representations of something that's material, then immaterial, and then material again. Okay? And I think to kind of like add on to this is that video right below called Fancy Vodka. So please do watch that. And then I think that last video there with the old fashioned is just talking about the nature of the old fashioned and I think various styles or various ways to potentially make it. So, and we'll kind of pick back up in this space next week when we all reconvene. So I look forward to that already, and I hope the best for you all this weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Cheers.